India has moved decisively on the high seas. In a dramatic escalation tied to global sanctions enforcement, New Delhi has seized 3 oil tankers sanctioned by the United States and allegedly linked to Iran. Sources with direct knowledge of the operation told Reuters that Indian authorities intercepted the vessels earlier this month and have since tightened surveillance across the country's vast maritime zone to crack down on illicit oil trade. The ships, Stellar Ruby, Asphalt Star, and Al Jafsia, were allegedly switching identities in an attempt to evade coastal law enforcement and obscure the origin of their cargoes. According to the source, the vessels were intercepted roughly 100 nautical miles west of Mumbai after suspicious activity was detected involving a tanker believed to be part of a complex ship-to-ship transfer network. They were later escorted into Mumbai for further investigation, marking one of the most assertive maritime enforcement actions in recent months. The seizures appear to confirm details first revealed in a February 6th post by Indian authorities on X, a post that was later deleted without explanation. Officials say India is determined to ensure that its waters are not used for ship-to-ship transfers designed to mask the origin of sanctioned oil cargoes. Such transfers, often conducted far from shore, are a known tactic used to bypass sanctions and complicate tracking by global regulators. The timing is significant. U.S.-India relations have seen a notable upswing, with Washington recently announcing a major tariff reduction on Indian goods after New Delhi agreed to halt imports of Russian oil. The U.S. Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control had previously sanctioned 3 vessels with International Maritime Organization numbers identical to the ships now seized. According to LSEG shipping data, 2 of the 3 tankers have documented links to Iran. Al Jafsia reportedly carried Iranian fuel oil to Djibouti this year, while Stellar Ruby was flagged in Iran. Asphalt Star largely operated along routes near China. However, the National Iranian Oil Company has denied any connection to the vessels or their cargoes, with Iranian state media insisting the ships were not tied to the company. Behind the scenes, enforcement has intensified dramatically. The Indian Coast Guard has stepped up monitoring efforts, deploying around 55 ships and up to 12 aircraft to conduct round-the-clock surveillance across India's maritime zones. Sanctioned oil is often traded at steep discounts due to the legal and financial risks involved. Intermediaries frequently rely on layered ownership structures, falsified paperwork, and mid-sea transfers to obscure cargo origins. This latest action signals that India is positioning itself firmly within the global sanctions enforcement framework, while simultaneously balancing complex geopolitical relationships. As investigations continue in Mumbai, the seizures send a clear message. India's waters will not become a corridor for covert oil trade. The question now is whether this marks a one-off enforcement action or the beginning of a sustained maritime crackdown with global consequences.
The U.S. forces seized a second sanctioned oil tanker, tightening President Donald Trump's sweeping maritime crackdown on Venezuela's oil trade. The Panamanian-flagged tanker Veronica III was intercepted in international waters after what the Pentagon says was a long-distance pursuit. "Distance does not protect you," the Pentagon declared, releasing dramatic images of American forces boarding the vessel. The operation was described as a right of visit maritime interdiction, but the message was unmistakable: the blockade is global. U.S. officials say the tanker departed Venezuela in early January, carrying nearly 2 million barrels of crude. oil believed to be part of a shadow network moving sanctioned Venezuelan, Russian, and Iranian supplies into global markets. This marks the second U.S. boarding in the Indian Ocean in just 1 week. At least 7 oil tankers have been intercepted since last year as Washington intensifies its effort to choke off revenue streams tied to Caracas. Back in December, President Trump ordered what he called a quarantine of sanctioned oil tankers entering or leaving Venezuela, a move the Venezuelan government labeled theft. Since then, exports have plunged. Shipments reportedly dropped by nearly half in January, falling to around 400,000 barrels per day. The Pentagon's warning was blunt. International waters are not sanctuary. By land, air, or sea, we will find you. With U.S. forces now projecting power deep into the Indian Ocean, this is no longer just a regional sanctions fight. It is a global maritime hunt, and Washington is making clear that oceans offer no escape.